Hello, welcome to BTV. My name is Cooke, and we are continuing with part 3 of this enthralling story of how two ordinary guys formed a charity called Help One Walk that enables victims of landmines to receive prosthetic legs. So, John, how did the breakthrough come in this story?
Actually, it came through the magic of Google. What happened is we put in 3 words into the search engine: low-cost prosthetic. And what we found was a clinic in India, the Jaipur Foot Clinic. And in our research, we learned that this clinic had put over 500,000 legs on amputees over the last 40 years. The real shocker was that these prosthetic legs are free.
They're free?
They're free.
You're kidding.
Yeah, not only that, if you live in India and you are an amputee and you get on a train with your family, you can arrive at Jaipur Foot. They'll put you up for 3 days. They'll take care of you. Whoa. And you'll walk out of there with a new leg.
Okay, so how does an organization afford to put legs on for free?
Well, the short answer, Graham, is that it costs $50.
Only 50 bucks. That is astonishing. What's the quality of these legs?
Well, I could tell you they work or just show you.
Wow, John, that's amazing. So you found Jaipur Foot on Google, and you know that you now have a leg that's free. So what did you do next?
Well, we emailed the CEO of Jaipur Foot. His name is Dr. Mehta, and we shared his story, and we were so surprised because he emailed us back 2 hours later. And when he emailed us back, he just such an incredible response, but we later found out that he's a living legend in India. He's 79 years old. 40 years ago, he was chairman of the Security Commission of India, and he had a horrific car crash that he was involved in and almost lost both legs. So Dr. Mehta was lying in the hospital and he had an epiphany. And he thought, you know, if I had really lost these legs, I could have afforded the $15,000 for prosthetics.
Right.
But how many out there are poor and could not afford it and would just live their life as beggars? In that hospital bed, he made a pledge. And that pledge was those who lose their dignity innocently should not have to pay to get it back.
John, that's a profound statement. Can you just say that again?
Yeah, while he was in the hospital bed, he said, those who lose their dignity innocently should not have to pay to get it back.
This guy sounds like a modern day Gandhi.
Well, he really is, but he has other spiritual influences. And one of those was Albert Schweitzer, who was famous Christian missionary and Nobel Prize winner. And Dr., as we know him, learned from Schweitzer what he later experienced himself, and that was the joy of entering into the suffering of others.
So, getting back to your email.
So Dr's answer floored us. He invited us to bring Florencia to Jaipur, to give her a leg for free, and he was moved and surprised that 2 men would help a girl in the bush. But he expressed great concern when he learned about the 10,000 amputees that are without help in Mozambique. And he actually, in that email, offered to train any Mozambicans who wanted to become prosthetic technicians.
Wow.
By the way, 35% of the technicians at Jaipur Foot were once patients.
Wow, so you would have had to overcome a lot of obstacles to get Florencia to Jaipur. I understand that she'd never even been out of the country, even more than 60 kilometers from her village. So how did she react to the whole experience?
Well, some of those reactions we learned from Aderito. Before they left Mozambique, they were in a hotel in Maputo. And this was her first experience in a hotel, and she said, oh boy, a hotel is much better than a hut. I could get used to this. But honestly, traveling from her country, the first time being on a plane, was a difficult experience because I think that novelty wears off real quickly when you're attempting to slide down the aisle of a plane sideways, or you're waiting for your wheelchair, or your crutches are being checked for drugs, and you're in unfamiliar surroundings.
So what was it like when she arrived at the clinic?
Well, you've got to realize, Graham, she had never seen another amputee. And in our book, we depict the visual impact of arriving at Jaipur Foot. But just the Western perspective, it's very offensive. Many amputees are emaciated, crawling on the ground on their buttocks. But for Florencia, it was absolutely a positive turning point. You see, in her own community, she was somewhat of an outcast. Imagine children pointing at her, people talking about her. And here at Jaipur Foot, she saw people who were just like her. And some who were worse, some who needed 2 legs.
Wow.
And then she met Dr. Mehta. And I tell you, he treated her like a VIP. He called her a very important princess from Africa.
That's cute.
And I want to mention 2 highlights. The prosthetic specialist that called us into a large hall after Florencia was there a day or 2. And Florencia walked unaided the first time since her accident.
Wow.
And she was just elated, and we could just tell by this big smile on her face. Then on her last night, we were all at the small hotel that we were staying in. All the lights went out, and the owners of the hotel brought in a large chocolate cake lit with candles, with frosting in bold letters, "A beautiful day, Florencia." When she took a bite of that cake, it was the first time she'd ever eaten cake.
And then your team took her back to her village in Mozambique. So what was that like, that homecoming moment?
Graham, it was a homecoming to end all homecomings.
This is such an astonishing story. You know, anyone can be involved in this amazing work for as little as $50. So we're asking for people to become a sponsor in one of 5 ways. Buy a book, tell the story to your family, your church, your place of work. Buy at least 1 leg, or 2, or 5, or 10, or more on a regular basis or as a one-off. Support a camp that enables a couple of 100 people to get legs in the same time frame. Sponsor a former victim to become a technician like Florencia. Or you can buy a vehicle with your family, your church, and your business name that's actually going to be on the side panel. 5 ways to get involved. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.